37 years after the Lutz family's escape from the house, Daniel Lutz, one of Kathy's sons, who was only 10 years old at the time, decided to break the silence about everything he experienced during nearly a month of nightmare. In 2013, he was interviewed by director Eric Walter, who that year released the documentary My Amityville Horror, recounting Daniel's reports and the fateful address that became the inspiration for the film franchise, The Amityville Horror. In the production, Daniel reported that he never returned to the address. He also attributed the presence of evil in the house to his stepfather, George, who engaged in occult activities, according to his description. He would have been responsible for opening the door to the dark forces that he could not control. The former resident also said that the address was supposed to be the House of Dreams. 6 bedrooms, a pool, and a boathouse led the family to nickname the property High Hopes, but instead it became a great nightmare. "I just wanted someone to believe me. This has been in my dreams all my life," he said in tears. Daniel recalled seeing his stepfather's shelves full of books on magic. He even claimed to have seen George move a wrench telekinetically in his garage, which would have happened before they moved to Amityville. Daniel said in a trembling voice, "George's beliefs and practices triggered what was happening in the house. It was like a magic trick gone bad that you couldn't shut off." He also described feeling uncomfortable in Amityville just a mere 2 hours after moving in. When he took a moving box to the game room, he found it full of flies within seconds. After crushing more than 100 of them, he promptly went to inform his mother about the unusual experience. When he returned the room, they had all vanished without a trace. He then stated, "That's when my confusion started." The former resident also reported dreaming that the family dog was going ballistic and almost strangling itself with the leash while trying to jump over the fence while the garage door came to life on its own. He said, "The entire family was standing there watching that garage door slam up and slam down and slam up and slam down." Another memory was when he and his stepfather were returning from the garage and looked at his sister's bedroom window, who was only 5 years old at the time. They saw what Daniel described as a cartoon character of an angry pig with wolf-like teeth and laser beam red eyes. However, when they rushed to the room, they only found an empty rocking chair swinging back and forth. On the last day they stayed in the house, Daniel remembers his mother hurting her hand when a window mysteriously fell on her. The former resident also described a spirit entering through the kitchen, knocking over a knife, and sitting at the table, leaving a mark on the seat. In one of his few accounts, George Lutz recounted that on that same night he saw Kathy's face temporarily transform into the face of an old crone, and later she even levitated on the bed. Daniel, who shared the room with his brother Christopher, said they also shared a levitation experience in their beds. He said, "We both woke up with our footboards smashing each other and banging off the ceiling." The Lutz family purchased the house in Amityville for approximately $80,000 in December 1975. This price was significantly reduced compared to the typical market value for a house of that size and location due to the dark history, including the murders that occurred there a year earlier. The DeFeo murders, which occurred on November 13, 1974, in Amityville, New York, are a tragic and infamous event that set the stage for the subsequent paranormal claims associated with the Amityville Horror. Here's what happened. The victims of the DeFeo murders were members of the DeFeo family who lived at 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville. Ronald DeFeo Jr., known as Butch, was the eldest son of Ronald DeFeo Sr. and Louise DeFeo. He had 4 siblings, Dawn, Allison, Mark, and John Matthew. On the night of November 13, 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. entered his family's home armed with a .35 caliber rifle. He systematically murdered each member of his family while they slept in their beds. The following day, Ronald DeFeo Jr. went to work as usual, but later in the evening he went to a local bar and claimed that his family had been shot. The police were called, and they discovered the bodies of the 6 victims in their beds, all of whom had been shot and killed. Initially, Ronald DeFeo Jr. claimed that his family had been killed by mobsters. However, inconsistencies in his story led to further questioning, and eventually he confessed to murdering his family members. He claimed that voices in the house had compelled him to commit the murders. Ronald DeFeo Jr. was tried and found guilty of 6 counts of second-degree murder. In November 1975, he was sentenced to 6 consecutive sentences of 25 years to life in prison. Despite knowing about the murders, George and Kathy Lutz bought the house move-in with their family, hoping for a fresh start, but they only stayed for just 28 days. The Lutz family reported feeling sinister presences in the house, including a sensation of being watched and the feeling of a malignant presence around them. They also reported occurrences of unpleasant and unexplained odors, such as smells of excrement and strong perfume, that would appear and disappear suddenly. The temperature in certain areas of the house often changed drastically without explanation, with certain areas becoming extremely cold, regardless of the external weather. The Lutz family claimed to hear a variety of unexplained noises, including knocking on the walls, footsteps in empty corridors, and whispering voices. The Lutz also reported that objects flew across the room and crucifixes were turned upside down. They also reported a sudden and unexplained infestation of insects, larvae, and flies in various areas of the house. Some family members claimed to have experienced sensations of paralysis and levitation while in the house. The family's pets also seemed to react abnormally to the house, exhibiting strange and nervous behaviors. George Lutz had increasingly disrupted sleep and always woke up at the same time, 3:15 in the morning. It was as if he received a summons to awaken. The infamous Red Room is one of the most chilling aspects of the Amityville horror story. The Lutz family claimed to have discovered a small hidden room in the basement. This room was painted red and became known as the Red Room. According to the Lutz family's accounts, they experienced intense feelings of dread and malevolent energy emanating from the Red Room. They believed that the room was a focal point for the supernatural forces present in the house. The presence of the Red Room seemed to coincide with an escalation of paranormal activity throughout the house. The Lutz family reported increased instances of unexplained phenomena, including strange noises, disembodied voices, and unsettling apparitions. In an attempt to neutralize the negative energy associated with the Red Room, George Lutz reportedly placed religious symbols and artifacts in the room, including crucifixes and holy water. However, these efforts appeared to have little effect on the haunting. Faced with these disturbing events, the Lutz family took several measures to deal with the situation. They sought guidance and assistance from the Catholic Church to deal with the paranormal activities in the house. Mrs. Lutz called upon a clergyman, Father Ralph Pecoraro, to bless the house. While he was blessing them on the upper floor of the living room, the priest received a slap on the face from something invisible and heard a voice scream. The Lutz also got in touch with paranormal experts, including investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, seeking help and guidance. The Warrens conduct an investigation but reportedly encounter strong negative energies within the house. Faced with the escalation of paranormal phenomena and the emotional distress they were experiencing, the Lutz family made the decision to abruptly leave the house, leaving behind most of their belongings. The police did not officially investigate the paranormal phenomena reported by the Lutz family in the Amityville house. However, there were reports of George Lutz contacting local law enforcement regarding some of the disturbances they experienced during their brief stay in the house. The outcome of these interactions with the police was not extensively documented, and there is no official police report confirming the paranormal claims made by the Lutz family. It's important to note that law enforcement typically deals with matters related to criminal activity rather than paranormal occurrences. The story of the Lutz family was later documented in the book The Amityville Horror and in subsequent cinematic and television adaptations. In 2016, the house was sold for $850,000. The name of the new owner was not disclosed.